and welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports Network. I am Vince, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Mr. Stevie D and Mr. DB29. Yeah, that's right. Did they call you that before? Please tell me no, because I want that to be,
Yeah.
our little thing that we have. Did they
No,
call you?
no, no, no. They called me that for years, bro. So it ain't,
Oh,
you didn't come up with that.
damn. I thought I was onto something. Well, Mr. Derek Burrow's in the house. All right. I got to think of something else. I'll
Yeah.
think of something else. All right, guys. So today's show is kind of special. We are resurrecting the OW Sports Network Fantasy Football League. We have a live draft that we are going to be hosting simultaneous to our podcast show. So we invited some of the players in the league to be part of the show, Stevie D, and they declined. I think a little fear. I think they know. They know the three of us here, the great minds of Stevie D, DB29, and Vince. Oh, there's nothing but.
I think it's gamesmanship. I don't think they want us to have any insights into what they're doing where we can probe it out of them. That's what I think.
Well, we got the secret weapon. We got the secret weapon over there, DB29.
Absolutely, because we need to get out of last place. And DB29 is going to bring it home.
All right. All right. Let's get it. Let's do it. Let's get it together then.
Did you see the look that he gave? What, me?
Hey, listen. I was hoping you guys teach me the game. So
Oh, man. Yeah, this should be interesting. Should be fun. Uh, again, we have this is going to be an interesting league. Stevie D, just so everybody knows, Stevie D and I have kind of removed ourselves from the landscape that is known as fantasy football. We removed ourselves for a particular reason, right? I was tired of finishing last. Now, Stevie D says that he went out on top. I remember a league that we had, Stevie D, where
So in our league, no, but my work
okay,
league, yeah. I finished, and that's when I decided to retire. I wanted to go out on top with the trophy. And
it's like you and your buddy Tom, huh?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
TB12.
yeah.
Okay, I
Go
see
out
you.
on top, baby. Go out on top.
So there's a lot to talk about. We're trying to figure out how not to make this show disjointed, right? Because there are some things that we want to talk about that's going on in the league, but we also have to keep a keen eye as to what's going on here. And if anybody that's part of the fantasy football league, if you are watching, just know that you cannot draft any of the Buffalo Bills or the New York Jets. Okay. And we're asking you this as a favor so that we can keep one eye over there on the draft, but be able to provide some good, eloquent, thought provoking type content for our viewers out there. All right. And so, Stevie D, I'm just looking and I know who we want to take first.
Yeah, probably that person won't be there. Yeah. So,
So I'm just,
look, let's just give him the tip. It's Gino, right? I mean, let's face it. It's
it,
Gino.
dude, bro, you're giving up trade secrets. What if they're watching?
Yeah, Oh, I thought I said it soft enough that maybe nobody heard it.
All right. All right. Let's move on. So I wanted to figure out, and I didn't know the proper way to bring up this topic, guys. All right. And then I decided, what other way than to boom, boom. Yes, those are Cleveland Browns fans showing their displeasure of one Mr. Deshaun Watson as he looked horrendous as he got the ball in the second half. Now, let's be fair, right? Let's be fair. Deshaun was playing, saying last time, Derek, that they would no longer be on the team or on the field in a week or so. So we understand that. But there's a difference between not feeling pressure the way that you should as a starter. There's a difference between reading what the defense is doing and the ball sailing high and wide and everything else. A receiver may not run the right route. I can't blame Deshaun on that. But if Deshaun is not picking up, hot routes, or is not picking up the blitzers, or is not doing some of the things that he should be doing, I have an issue with that. And when we saw him in week 1, when he played with the starters, he didn't look that great either. He looked better than what he did against the Bills, but he didn't look that great. On the flip side, you have one young Mr. Shador Sanders, and he just looked okay in week 1. But I'm going to tell you guys, when he played the Bills against their 1.5s, right? It wasn't against the full team defense, but against the 1.5s. And he had his 1.5s out there. That first drive looked like an NFL starting quarterback with precision, went down the field, read the coverage, was throwing to exactly where he should put the ball. Then he was a victim of a bad pass. Stevie D, we want to be fair, right? It was a bad pass. It was behind the receiver. It was something that I think a starting receiver would and could have made the adjustment, right? But it deflected, was popped up in the air, and intercepted by Damar Hamlin. And it was after that we saw a little bit of the shakiness come into Shador, and I'm sure with the pressure that he's under, thinking that this is my shot and I just blew it because of interception, that next series, playing with definitely the 2s, it went down. Either way, and this is where I want to turn it over to you guys. Either way, when you look at the body of work, I want to be careful as I say this, when I say the character of the player. We have seen nothing but good clips from Shador. We know about Deshaun. I have a whole nother issue with the Deshaun situation because something doesn't feel right completely, but he put himself into that situation. That's the problem I have, okay? But when we look at the complete body of work, you can't deny, if you're about winning and losing, that right now Shador gives you the best chance to win, guys. Oh, and by the way, Stevie D, there's a minute and 16 seconds left. I got my finger on the button already.
Well, good. So as DB and I are chopping this one up, you'll be ready to do the draft pick. But,
That's right.
it's. I know I've said it before. I think you follow the money. I think Shador would have had to have a perfect camp, and Deshaun Watson would have to play mediocre for them to go with the younger. I do think it comes down to money and showing that we got something out of the money. I'm not saying it's the right decision, but I just feel that's the way the Browns ownership looks at it. They want to get something back on the money. And let's face it, if Deshaun Watson can somehow get back to what he was, I mean, he was a dynamic player, but I think it's all about the money there. Because I do think Shador has shown immense leadership in that locker room. You can listen to him when he's on the sideline having those conversations. And I thought he's done a really good job in speaking to the media in his own situation, right? And coming to the defense of Deshaun Watson, right? Just showing that character of sticking with his teammate, even though he may be hurting on the inside that he didn't get the job, right? So that's kind of my thoughts on that situation.
Derek, how about you?
I guess when you talk about the money, I'm curious that Deshaun Watson's money is guaranteed anyway, whether Shador starts or Watson starts. His money is guaranteed. So if his money is guaranteed, which we know it is, what difference does it make? Because he's going to get paid anyway. He's going to get, So the only thing, to me, it looks like they're just saving face that, hey, well, we paid him all this money, and we need him to start to save face as a general manager or as an ownership group. But What happened to putting the best guy out there to give us the best chance to win? And we think that every time we watch sports, everything is about putting the best guy, putting the best man on the field and winning, and it's not. And as a fan, you hate to hear that because you want to believe in the system. Unfortunately, that's not the case all the time.
You are 100%. And Stevie D and I were talking about this one, and I said to him, "So Deshaun is making." Oh,
And
Steve.
you're up next, so I just want to make sure that you're going to put that pick in.
So we're talking about this, and
On the clock.
son of a.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else. Okay.
Well, I was, but I was hoping to get it going there and back. All right, you can do the next one. Josh
Oh, no,
Allen has been selected by
you go ahead.
OWSports Network.
You don't want me picking.
Do. All right, Stevie D, you take this one while I talk on this one, right?
Sounds good.
So, Derek, here's what I was saying to Stevie D. When you look at Deshaun Watson, you got the guaranteed $50 million that he had, right? Outrageous number that he got as a guaranteed contract, especially coming off of what he had, and so that's fine. And as an owner, you don't want to see that $50 million sit on the sidelines with a headset and a clipboard. You don't, right? Because I'm paying good money, and I got a $3 million guy out on the field and $50 million sitting over here. Doesn't make sense. That's okay when it comes to a Joe Flacco or a Dylan Gabriel. However, when you talk about Shador, and you look at what Shador brings to that organization, right? The legacy, the name, what he has done in college, and what he is bringing to that city. The merchandising alone is going to bring in that revenue to cover that $50 million. If not, the TV, the local TV, you're going to have the fans in the stands to see Shador out there. You're going to make back that money that's sitting on the sideline. So if you're upset that you spent $50 million, he just paid that off. And now, guess what? I have a guy that potentially can give me a chance to win more games than the other guy. I'm not saying Shador's going to take him to the Super Bowl. I didn't say that. Right? But could they be competitive enough to potentially get a wild card? Oh, absolutely. They have a very, very, very good team there in Cleveland, right? You got two good young receivers in Boston and Concepcion, right? You have Fannin Jr., the tight end, who just showed out. They have key pieces all along that offense. They redid the offensive line. We'll see what happens. It's really the signal caller. And then on the defensive side of the ball, yes, you got rid of Garrett, and that's a huge loss, right? I'm not denying that. But you got Jared Verse back, so he's no slouch. They have a team that can be competitive. 8, 9, 10 wins maybe. Yeah, I mean, they legitimately could split the division. Right? You could go 4-4 in the division. Go ahead, Stevie D.
You know, I guess where I get stuck with this whole thing is what is Cleveland trying to do for the long term? Deshaun is gone after this year. So are you just trying to have 1 year with Deshaun to make the playoffs, to make your fans happy? Hey, we made a run for the playoffs, and now that quarterback is gone. Because he's not going to be on that roster next year. So you have Shador under contract. Wouldn't you want to find out what you have in this kid? Truly giving him the team to understand what he can give you. Is he the answer or not? Because if he's not the answer, then you know you're going to have to go back into the draft in 27 to go get the quarterback of the future. To me, it just doesn't make sense strategically of turning it over to Deshaun Watson, knowing that he's gone next year no matter what. You're not bringing him back. You're not going to give him another contract. But it is Cleveland, so you never know. But I would think they would move on. So if your long-term plan is to move on from Deshaun Watson, then turn it over right now to Shador to find out what he had.
Now, to make matters worse, guys, did you hear the comments from Deshaun? I mean, this is what's so mind-boggling out of the whole thing, right? And Stevie D, you alluded to a little bit of what Shador had done, right? But after the performance, Deshaun downplayed his performance. Oh, things are picking up.
Yeah, they are. I'm trying to keep on.
Hot and heavy. Stevie D, you want to take this one?
Okay.
I was
Yo, man, you believe me, right in the middle of this whole thing. All right.
so I was thinking Devonta Smith, or hey, it's your call. As long as nobody takes our guy, I was thinking Devonta Smith
Well, put somebody in the queue.
or
Okay.
Jalen Waddle.
Which one do you want?
Oh, you took Barkley.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got Barkley. Well, then don't take Devonta Smith because that's two Eagles.
Okay. Do you want to do Adams? You want to do Jaden Waddle, who's going to be with?
I think Waddle. I like Waddle out in Denver.
And not Ibuka from the Bucks, right?
He's always hurt.
All right.
He's hurt now.
All right. That
He would
30
be.
seconds went quick, so I made the pick.
He would be a guy. But the comments that, if you listen to the comments that were made during the presser after, you really had to start scratching your head. What is Deshaun saying? Now, he made reference to the fact of he was hurt and the fans booed, right? Cleveland's notorious, right? They booed Tim Couch. They booed Baker Mayfield. I don't condone that. I don't appreciate that. But you're trying to get back in the good graces. They didn't boo you this time because of an injury. They booed you because you're throwing the ball 3 yards in front of the receiver, having it skip to the receiver. They're booing you because you made bad decisions on the field. They're booing you because they expect more out of you. Again, sometimes the fans can have too big of expectations, right? That and they don't think big picture. But you can't get up to the podium and make those statements. You can't. You're already persona non grata, really, throughout the league, based off of what happened when you were at Houston. This is your chance. You have to rehabilitate yourself. Sometimes you have to eat crow. Sometimes you have to suck it up. And when you get home, you can unload. Right? You can tell your wife, I swear I can't stand these people in Cleveland, and just go off. And as soon as that microphone comes back in front of you, just say, just like Shador's been doing, right? We had a tough one out there. That's a really good team that's out there. And, each day we're getting better. And I see the guys getting better, and I can really appreciate it. We got to work up some stuff, but we're close.
Is that called situational awareness, Ben?
It is. It is. It is.
All right,
Stevie D, I'm going to take a little Garrett Wilson. What do you think?
yeah, GW5. Let's get a jet on the board, baby. Okay.
There you go. See, I'm trying to show you some love. Diamonds and pearls. Diamonds and pearls.
That was hilarious.
So, Derek, where that comes from, draft night, Garrett Wilson comes to the stage to greet Roger Goodell.
Well, you got to first start with our Sauce was the first one to go.
Well, Sauce was there with his chain with some hot sauce or something there in his chain that said Sauce. And then
in diamonds.
In diamonds, that's right. It was all encrusted in diamonds. And here comes Garrett Wilson. And Garrett walks up to the stage. He had the real tight suit on, right? The arms were form fitted, the legs were form. I'm like, bro, what are you wearing there, right? And then he doesn't have a shirt on, but he's got these pearls, a bead of pearls all around his neck. And I was like, yeah. Did you see that look right there? Yeah. Look, I think we got banned on YouTube for that one because I had to play the Princess Diamonds and Pearls.
Yeah, I did say, didn't I call that draft in?
You did.
Didn't I call the trade back before the draft, and the Jets were going to trade back in to get the third number one? And they did.
You did.
Yeah.
So, I don't know when I look at what Deshaun's doing. I just see him self-destructing, imploding because either he wants out of Cleveland, but that's not how to ingratiate yourself to the next team. And that's certainly not one to bring you fan favor unless you're Mary Kay Cabot, who has her own agenda there in Cleveland. Oh.
Yeah. I don't care for her as an announcer, but yeah, I do think there's a little bit of that happening, right?
So, and I'm going to give everybody a quick rundown of the draft. So right now, we're looking pretty good here, Stevie D. I'm not going to lie, right?
Well, we got some names, that's for sure.
We do. We're doing the old man draft. We only draft the people we know that make the headlines. Not a lot of research has been done by these two here, and including DB29. Because Derek, I'm waiting for you to throw a name out there.
Well,
Throw me stuff, buddy.
No, see, I told you guys got to teach me the ropes before I jump in. So I'm gonna allow you guys to steer us in the right direction.
Ooh, I think if things happen the way they're supposed to happen, there could be a second Buffalo Bill on the team,
Okay.
and that's as long.
And who's that? Who's that?
Oh wait, did I miss a pick?
No.
Oh, that was,
But I think you. I'm going to text you because we can't say it out
I
loud.
think I spoke too loud. Somebody's watching.
Um,
Ray Davis is still on the board.
You're killing me, Ray Davis.
Kick off, punt. Derek, you don't want us to teach you. I swear, you don't want that. We will be of no service to you, sir. But just be part of the team. We're welcoming you with open arms to be part of the team. So, maybe you'll be the good luck, and then we all can raise the trophy and celebrate. Plus, in that way, Stevie D, we don't have to buy anything.
But hey, check your messenger.
I'm sorry, everybody. This is what happens when you have a live show.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
that's where I was going.
Okay, look at the queue, and I'm trying to think of that at that position.
That's where I was going to go. It's coming in right into your.
Okay. I just want to make sure we were aligned there. You got him? Oh, son of a, oh, I wasn't thinking him. but
Oh,
okay.
welcome. Number 2 in your program, number 1 in your heart. DJ Moore, welcome to OW Sports Network. All right, I think that's enough bills, though.
He better not shit. He better not crap the bed.
Yo, this is a family shit. That's for OW Sports After Dark.
It's fantasy football. You gotta have provision for fantasy football. All right, so I think we got to go.
Kicker. You want to go kicker? You want to go get one of these 70-yard kickers?
No, I think we need to go after a TE.
Yeah. Dalton Kincaid.
Oh God.
No, we don't have to. Hold on, let's see. Actually, let's take the guy I was just talking about.
I don't remember.
You got him and Pitts.
I don't know who's throwing the ball in Atlanta.
I'm afraid to go with Fannin. We got 30 seconds to go. I'm afraid to go with Fannin because of Deshaun, just what we talked about. But I don't want to go with Kyle Pitts because of Tua, what we talked about last week.
Well, we know Hunter Henry is a guy in the red zone with Drake May, so he'll score some touchdowns. But yeah, I don't know, but we're running out of time here.
You pick it. You take it. You take it.
Oh, I don't like this pick.
Pitts.
Yeah, I didn't do Pitts.
Ah, you were a Patriot lover. He takes Hunter Henry. You Patriot lover.
Pitts, I love Pitts. I don't love who's throwing him the football.
So you like Drake May?
No. But
And
I
you
like
like
Drake
Mike
May to
Vrabel.
find the tight end. I like Drake May to find his tight end.
And you like Diana Rossini.
Uh,
That's who you were on the phone with, Diana Rossini.
Diana.
She's like, Stevie D, if he's still on the board, Mikey told me to say that Hunter Henry is available. All right, guys. Well, while we continue and we kind of throw this one around, one of the things that we talked about, just before the show went live, was the number of kids, and I'm calling them kids because you're not making grown-up adult decisions. In my opinion, let me be fair. In my opinion, you're not making grown-up adult decisions when you make a decision that you're going to go pro, you don't make it, and then you decide you're going to try to go back and play college ball. And now we have some teams that are in the NCAA that are welcoming these guys. Derek, I remember a time when you made a decision. You said, I am committing to the NFL as an underclassman. That was it. That was it. You can't come back. The NBA had the same thing, and then they said, well, you can come back as long as you don't hire an agent. Right? And now it's wide open. It's wide open. These guys are going out there. They're getting their feelings hurt because, are we up? No. These guys are getting their feelings hurt because either they're third on the depth chart, fourth, they may have already been released, and they don't know what to do. They knew what to do. They had a chance to make a decision to stay in college. Somebody told them wrong, or they told themselves wrong. But where is accountability? That's the problem I have. In this society, there's no level of accountability. You had to make a decision. You had to hold yourself accountable. I made a bad decision. It's time for me to figure out what is plan B. Plan B wasn't going back and trying to get NIL money. Plan B was, you know what? I'm going to work hard in the CFL, or I'm going to try to do, if I still wanted to play ball, right? I'm going to try to find a league. I'm going to work out. I'm going to train. I'm going to do whatever. And I'm going to come back as an undrafted free agent. But you know what? I'm going to make it. That was if you still want to play ball. Otherwise, you went on to something else in your career, maybe coaching or what have you. Not that you can run back and grab an extra paycheck of NIL. And then, the good thing, though, the guys that are drafted that go back, their rights are still owned by the team in the NFL.
Now there are roster limits, and the thing I think about often about the subject
Thanks,
is
Ron. You said,
is
I don't know where you want to go.
No, go ahead, Derek. I got you, Steve. Go ahead, Derek.
I often wonder, since they have roster limits, to bring a guy back on a team means you got to kick a player off that has went through the whole summer with you. And as a coach or as a former coach, that would be a little bit hard for me to do if a kid has went through the whole summer with me. That's something to think about, so, and then you still have to deal with these kids' parents. So, I'm not advocating for going back to college for, once you sign the NFL contract at all. But as a player, if my choice is trying to go back and get a couple of $100,000 or working at McDonald's, I'm at least try, because the NCAA is 0-43, so I would try it. So
I'm torn as you say that, right? And Stevie D, I want your opinion on this. I'm torn as Derek says this, right? Because from a player, if they're holding the door open for you, then why not walk back in? Right? It's there for you.
Right.
But from an organization and from we'll call it the league. We're going to call the NCAA the league. So from a league perspective and from all of the 300 universities that we're going to call the organizations, it's up to them as well. There are laws and bylaws, and I don't care who's suing who, COVID or no COVID. These were the rules. But it seems like, and here's where, again, I'll favor the player and favor the kids a little bit. It seems like the NCAA will shift the rules as it sees fit to the larger universities, right? What I mean by that is that, yes, I'll use COVID, but COVID did not just impact one school, it impacted all of the schools. So, in essence, it was a level and fair playing ground, except for now I have a kid that may have gotten a year older for Alabama, right? Or maybe Alabama or Georgia is having a little harder time to recruit. So it seems like the NCAA is kind of shifting for those schools. They don't care about the University of Buffalo. They don't care about Hofstra. Right? They don't care about those schools. But it's those big time SEC Power 5 conference schools that they shift. And now they put themselves into a little bit of, uncharted territory.
So,
Hold on 1 second before you make. Were you okay with that last pick?
yeah.
Okay, OW Sports selected Trevor Lawrence as their backup quarterback. He will be on the bench though. Go ahead, Stevie D.
Well,
Well, what?
now I got me. I'm old, dude. You can't do that to
I
me.
thought Trevor Lawrence was your guy. You gave him a pass a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, sunshine.
Let me play the other side here for a second. So, I'm a college player that declared for the NFL draft. Never played it down in the NFL. I went through training camp and I got cut. Technically, I never played in the NFL. So we're saying he can't go back to college on a college roster. But why should that make a difference if he still has college eligibility? If he never played it down in the NFL?
Because he signed an agent.
Yeah, but these guys are getting paid now with NIL. What's the difference?
That's
Now
fair.
they're getting paid,
But
right? They're
you
paid
signed
athletes.
an agent in the NFL. You signed with an agent, and you got a paycheck. You put your name pinned to paper. Where's your accountability?
What contract do you have if you're not on a team?
So I would ask Stevie, then what's the difference between amateurism and professional?
But in order to be professional, I have to be on a professional roster on day
No,
one.
that's not true. You
How?
have to sign a professional contract. That's not true.
Okay,
You don't have to play it down. You don't have to play it down in the NFL. If you sign a professional contract,
because you get 40 grand or 50 grand or whatever that contract states when you sign it.
that makes you a professional. Now, once you sign a professional contract, that makes you a professional athlete, regardless of whether you play it down in NFL or not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from that perspective, when you sign that contract and you get a paycheck,
Right.
then yes, at that point in time, you would be considered. Yeah, I agree. You are a professional. I didn't look at it from that perspective, just because they didn't play it down in the NFL. But when you sign with a team, even though you sign that contract, you still get some type of money.
Absolutely.
Okay. So a lot of those kids that are undrafted, they still get paid to go through training camp. It may be a little bit of money. but
And
they
you
get
have
paid
hired
for
an
that.
agent. And you have hired an agent, probably.
It's one of those, when you're getting paid in college now, to me, it doesn't matter if you have an agent or not. I think most of these guys already have an agent on the side, it's just
Right.
not known.
I think that's a valid point in today's landscape, right? Because before NIL, when it was big time that if you hired an agent, and now in NIL, you don't have to, but you have to have an agent as you're negotiating your NIL deal, right? But there is still something to the fact that you have said that I am taking that step into the realm of professional sports. Guys, this is a slippery slope because the more I start to think about this, right? And we talk about amateur athletics, we talk about the Olympics, right? The Olympics has been the big one that more than any of the four majors that was very adamant about you could not be a professional athlete and play. Stevie D, I got four in the queue if you want to look at those four.
I can't. I can't see yours like you can't see mine. I had people in the queue. I'm like, man, I don't even think Vincent's even want to put me in the queue. But we had to get a backup. We had to get a backup for our starting running back.
Okay.
That's the one backup that we were definitely missing.
In typical fantasy football fashion, oh man, I had Myers in the queue as the kicker.
Oh, well, the kicker I want is probably gone. Yeah. Oh, well, you still got. Oh, yeah, the other kicker I wanted is gone. Ooh, look at Rob taking Dalton Kincaid. You gonna grab the kicker?
Ham a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, so going back to this, in the Olympics, the Olympic Federation they were very adamant about pros playing in Olympic sports, and then it really became more the USOC, right? And then as we started to see other countries kind of adopt that, where you had professionals that were playing in hockey and professionals that were playing in basketball, even though it wasn't part of the NBA, they were professionals that were playing there. You saw the U.S., and especially after the U.S. got beat, what was that, in '88 under John Thompson? That's when when the floodgates opened up, and they were like, "Oh, this won't happen again." And then we saw the professionals come in, but the college sports still maintain that for the longest time. For the longest time, and I think we can't lose sight of that. And now, whether it's NIL or not, you're still not a professional, even though you're getting a paycheck. You're not, and you have to make a decision. That's what college is all about, right? College is all about learning and growing and making good decisions, and sometimes you make some bad decisions, but you learn from those bad decisions so that when you get out into the real world, that you make good, sound, fundamental decisions.
Hey, Vince, can I interrupt you for a second? So you're excited that you picked Trevor Lawrence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you click on the roster button there at the top for me where it says players results roster? Can you tell me what sticks out there?
What am I missing?
It's this position and it says team.
Well, that's okay. Trade bait. Just
I was thinking the same word, trade bait. Oh God.
yeah, didn't quite notice that one, but so it becomes like this slippery type slope when you think about it, because the NCAA has done some things that have really gone as close to the line as becoming a professional organization with NIL. But then I look at NIL and I say, well, what's the difference between NIL and the booster walking up to you and shaking your hand and slipping you an envelope? What's the difference? The only difference is that we hear about it, right? And also the difference now that we hear about it, the numbers actually they add a couple extra zeros at the end of what used to be given to you, right? But still, at the end of the day, it's the same thing. So I just don't like a kid that got his feelings hurt and didn't make it is coming back. That's what I don't like, guys.
Well, Stevie, as one of those guys that alumnus slipped a couple of dollars in my hand.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
It
Hold on,
was
let me look for the button, Derek. Hold on.
it was never the amount of money that we're talking about today. So you said, what's the difference? It's a big difference, bro. The kind of money that the kids are getting now, you can't slip in your hand, bro. So let me first say, I got slipped a whole bunch of times, but it was enough to fit in my hand, not
Derek, I'm looking for the button, man. I can't
not
find
in,
the
not in,
button.
not in a bag, bro. Hey, listen, if they want to come get me at my age, bro, come on get me. So come on get me, man. So
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was trying to help you out, man. Usually we have this special button, and it said "in case of emergency" button, and we'll hit that button. And now that we're live streaming, there's no editing it out.
that's all
It's,
good.
it's out there.
Yeah, it's all good.
And when you talk about that, things like Mills and Bills. You remember that whole thing back in the day, Chris Mills, where I think that was what FedEx had an envelope and they had left it open, and they found all this money in there, and then you had the McDonald's bag full of money. Like, what in the world were we trying to do back then?
Well, we all knew that was going on back then. We all knew that. But the head coaches kept their hands clean. They have their do boys or their assistant coaches or whoever to do it for them. But we all knew it was all going on back then. But the kind of money they're giving out today, bro, that's life changing if used the right way.
It is. And that is no truer words there. It definitely is life changing at such an early age. I think one of the things that I find almost comical though is when Stevie D, can you take this one? One of the things I find comical, and I sometimes I just shake my head, right? And Derek, chime in on this one as well, is where they talk about the athlete and say that, well, you're a student athlete and you get the scholarship. And that should be enough, right? And we all know, I think we talked about this before, we all know what goes into being a student athlete. And so I'll just say the scholarship student in biology who has their lab coat on and is doing some dissecting and everything else does not have people run into the bookstore to go grab that lab coat, that same lab coat that she wore, right? That blue lab coat that said Duke on the back. People aren't running to go grab that. Instead, right, you have the jersey with the name and number on the back, and they're flying off the shelves. There is such a big difference, and I can appreciate how these kids are getting the money. I can, because I think there is a portion of the pie. You talked about revenue sharing before, but from a player, from the kid's perspective, right, moving away from the organization, from the kid's perspective, or the men, right, they're not kids, but from that perspective, I can appreciate a life-changing situation happening, but I also think that it should come with consequences. I do. If you were so worried about, what you could get in NIL, and you were concerned that maybe you weren't going to make it in the NFL, then make the right decision. Stay at the university, continue getting that NIL, and then go pro. But you decided to gamble, right? That's like going to the casino, putting the money down, saying, "All right, you play a little roulette, put it, 100,000 on 7, and it comes up 0-0, and you're like, "Hey, can I get my money back? I didn't like that bet, and I want to go back and try to get some more money."
Yeah. So I have a question. Did the NCAA ruling come down about the 5-for-5 before or after? Because if the kid had already signed the contract and the NCAA rule came down with the 5-for-5 and he wanted to come back, I just can't remember if it came down before or after. So if I've already signed to go
Was that?
pro,
It
and
was
then
that.
the NFL rule came down 5-for-5, it gave me another out. It gave me another opportunity. So I can't remember when that came down, Vince.
It was after.
Okay.
It was after. It was funny to that question. All of these decisions really seem to be after the fact, right? And you have all these different conferences that are scrambling and they don't know what to do because now it's completely blown up in their face, right? We saw the stance that the Big Ten was taking. We saw what the SEC, most recently. You were talking about that, right? The SEC. Now they're looking at everybody, the spotlight's coming at them, so they have to do something. It's not been a good offseason for the SEC, mind you, right? Dealing with the whole Sorsby thing, right, with gambling. And now you're talking about this. You got Lane Kiffin in the middle of all of this, right? It has not been very good at all for the SEC. Too bad Dan wasn't on here because we could talk about how the Gators are failing at that, right? Give Dan a hard time. But he's in the league. He's drafting, by the way. He's drafting. Guys, as we continue down this path, and I have to say, this has been the fastest fantasy football draft I have ever been in. I think we're going to be done in almost a full show hour, Stevie D. I can't hear you at all, but that's okay. Try.
Oh, it's on mute.
There,
No, that's why nobody heard me there lately. I put my stuff on mute.
I'm only laughing, guys, because pre-show, I was on my microphone like, Stevie D, can you hear me? And I'm hearing nothing. Stevie D, and he's just wandering away and looking at different things. I was getting ready to leave the studio, and then I looked and I saw I was on mute. And that's why he couldn't hear me. So, yeah, thanks, Steve. You made me feel better.
I was on mute and I got this other screen in front, right? So I didn't even know I was on mute because I'm looking at the draft board here.
Got you. So, we like to go to TMZ every once in a while, see what's happening out there, right? And every once in a while, you run across a story, and this wasn't on TMZ, actually. This came off of Twitter. Derek, have you been following the Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson saga?
I have not. Catch me up. I have not. Tell me about that.
So this really all goes back to, what would that have been, 89, 90, the Herschel Walker trade, right? So Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones are running the Cowboys, trying to rebuild the Cowboys. They make the trade make the trade of Herschel Walker to Minnesota. They get all these draft picks, rebuild the team. Next thing you know, they win 3-4. Stevie, do you got this one?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, they win 3-4. And, then egos get in the way of who's responsible for this team and the success that they've had. And that's when they had the falling out. And so then Jimmy leaves and is very much saying that he's the reason why the Cowboys were successful. Jerry saying, hey, I'm the smartest guy in the room, and I'm the reason why the Cowboys were so successful. And that feud lasted, I think, 2 decades, 2+ decades. And the feud was all really predicated upon this Herschel Walker trade, right? But Netflix had a special, and it was about, right, the Cowboys, and it talked about how they had that feud and where finally they found common ground and they decided that they were going to bury the hatchet, and Jimmy was inducted into kind of the Cowboys Ring of Honor, right? and you had Irvin and Dion and Aikman and Emmett. They were all there, and high fiving, and everything was good until August 20th, 2026, when Jimmy Johnson decides to go full commando, busting out receipts and post on Twitter his contract with the Dallas Cowboys. And in that contract, it says that he has full control and autonomy over the building of the players that come in, the coaches that come in, the training staff that comes in, the free agents that they bring in, and the players that they trade, which ultimately goes back to this Herschel Walker trade, meaning that Jimmy was truly the architect of that Herschel Walker trade, to which Jerry has for decades tried to say that it was him. It's thank goodness I'm not a Cowboys fan, right? And from the outside, I can look at it and kind of laugh and say, you guys are dysfunctional. But then it makes you wonder why, right? Why now? You got what you wanted to get by going into the Cowboys Ring of Honor. Why now? What's that last chess piece move that you're making by putting that out there? Because I'm going to tell you right now, that by itself is a straight mic drop, right? I got nothing else to say. Here it is, black and white, and it came through crystal clear on Twitter. So on everybody's screen, they saw exactly what that contract said.
Well, you said it. It was kind of like his closing argument, I guess, of saying, listen, we can battle about this, all day, but here's the receipts, and I'm done. So it's good that he did it after he had got elected into the Ring of Honor or whatever it was. So, kudos to Jimmy. When I was listening at you, damn, I almost thought you were talking about somebody else and not Jimmy Johnson. I mean, Jerry Jones. It sounds vaguely familiar that you sounded a lot like our president. Likes to take the credit for something that he didn't do. So never know. They might have a lot in common.
So I will say though, I'm still waiting for Jerry, and I'm surprised. Here's what I'm surprised at. Jerry is not afraid of a microphone, and we have not heard from Jerry Jones yet. That in itself, I think, speaks volumes.
What would he say? What would he say at this point when you just said he presented the receipts and dropped the mic? What would you have left to say?
You say your contract may have said that, but everything runs through me.
Okay. What if it
So
did?
you can go with that contract all you want. At the end of the day, I'm the one making the phone call, not you. I don't know. I expect something from him. I expect the Jones boys, Jerry and Steven and all the rest of them to try to come back and try to save face, because they stood on it. I mean, they were 10 toes down. And they were like, yo, this is the way it is. And it's a bad look. It's a bad look. And let me say this. Again, I'm not a Cowboys fan. Will never be.
Thank good. Thank God.
What's that?
I said, thank goodness.
Oh, yeah. But I do have a friend who's a Cowboys fan, right? And I gave her a hard time. Stevie D, we have to go resurrect that rules of being a fan, so that she understands that you can't just change from team to team. But she was talking about how revered Jimmy Johnson is in Dallas. She lives in Dallas now. How revered Jimmy Johnson is in Dallas, and where Jimmy Johnson is revered and where Jerry Jones is not. And, I find that a little bit understanding, but also a little confusing. And here's why. Again, watching that special on the Cowboys, when you look at Michael Irvin, when you look at Charles Haley, even when you look at Dion, and you look at these guys and almost the admiration that they had for Jerry, You look at what Jerry did for Michael when Michael got caught up with that mess. It was Jerry that got him out. It wasn't Jimmy that got him out of that. That was Jerry, right? And kept it on the low. I mean, that's when you say somebody's got your back, right? We were talking about before the show started, we were talking about how, you have these people that are around you and want to, always pat you on the back. But when it comes time for them to actually be there, they're gone. This is somebody that was there, pat him on the back, needed help, and came through in spades. Came through and kept it on the low as well, right? And still, we don't really know what happened. You can only surmise what happened, based on the chain of events and all the people that were involved. Stevie D, you're sitting back. Are we done?
Yeah.
Oh, the draft is over.
Draft is over, buddy.
Oh, look at that. And we drafted Jordan Love with the last pick.
Well, because we needed a quarterback for the bye week when all of our other quarterbacks are on the couch. So,
see, Derek, this is why we finished in last place, right? Because we don't look at certain things right away. The name looked good.
Yeah, it did. No doubt about it.
So, I was surprised. I really was surprised when she said that so many people there in Dallas didn't like Jerry. And, this is somebody that has done a lot. Granted, they haven't won lately. And, there's a lot of franchises that haven't won. But for what he did, how quickly he did it, and what he's turned out to be. Like, I couldn't stand him in the beginning when they got rid of Landry. Right? It's like, how do you get rid of Tom Landry?
Yeah. Well, there are very few teams out there that the owner is so in your face as Jerry Jones is, and it may have a lot to do with the fact that he's the general manager of the team, also, I guess. But there's very few owners that wants to be the front man, and then the Cowboys hadn't won a Super Bowl in some years now, so that leads back to who? The front man. And unlike a regular general manager, you can't fire the owner of the team, so you just got to deal with it. So I think Cowboy fans are very frustrated the fact that I think Romo won one playoff game, or maybe two, and Dak Prescott still out there, throwing, trying to throw his way into a playoff game. I think what you hear is frustration from Cowboy fans, and the only person they can be mad at is their front guy. So I think that's what you're probably hearing. Frustration from Cowboy fans.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that, right? It's what's closest to you in the mirror, right? And people don't appreciate, right, the good times. Maybe some of them weren't born back then, right? And so all they see is Romo, and they see the botch snap on that what was it, extra point or field goal. But they see Dak having a great regular season, but not able to really do anything when it comes time for the postseason. Sure, and then you look around and you see your enemy winning the Super Bowl twice, right? That never looks good.
If you look at sports as a whole, though, when you have an owner that is trying to overpower the team and not have my mic's a little bit further away. When you have owners that want to act as the GM or be bigger than the team, really, when you look at their success rates, they're not very good because they're not trusting the people that they hired to do the job, that they want to have their voice heard. And you see it in sports. I mean, look, as a Yankee fan, I've seen it with George Steinbrenner for years, try to outdo the GM. And then when he got suspended over the Dave Winfield incident, and you let the baseball people take over, that guy is what built that dominance there in the 90s, right? And so if you look at football, Daniel Snyder, another guy in football, right, that tried to be bigger with the Redskins at that time. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't get out of their own way with Daniel Snyder. So I do think when owners try to be that main guy, it generally doesn't work in sports. It generally.
Well, you think about owners making decisions. They're making business decisions, and they're not making football decisions. Let me give you an example. You know, talk about Dallas Cowboys, and you shouldn't put Super Bowl and Dallas together, but for lack of good conversation. So Dallas Cowboys hadn't been in the Super Bowl since I don't know when, but yet you trade away the best defense, arguably, the best defensive player in the league. You trade him away, and then you say you want to win a Super Bowl. I don't get that.
You talking about Micah?
Yeah. I don't get it. And don't get me wrong, the Quentin Williams, he's a great player. You know, he ain't no edge rusher.
Yeah. Well, I
But
know about
you know what happened there, don't you? That's the general manager screwed up, not the owner. The general manager screwed up, right? Because the general manager decided that he was going to flirt with danger. You had an opportunity to sign Dak early on, and you decided that you were going to play games. You had a chance to sign CD Lamb early on.
Right.
You decided you were going to play games, and you lost in both of those games. And
Right.
that money that you could have had earmarked for Micah would have been there.
that was $19 million. I think that cost them $19 million a year.
It
by
sure,
waiting.
sure did.
But that's the point I'm making now. You're making business decisions. You're not making football decisions. So, that's why that's why 31 teams have general managers. That's why they have them. You get ready to reinvent the wheel, bro. And I know you got a gabillion dollars, but having a gabillion dollars don't make you the smartest person in the room,
Agreed.
particularly in a football room.
Absolutely agree. And to add on to that point, I'll take it a step further. Not only do you have the general manager, but know your role. You're the owner. You go sit in your box. You go watch what your team has done.
Yeah.
You stay away from the microphones. You
Right.
get back in your limo and you go home.
You go home.
You hold your staff accountable for the decisions they make and make the changes as needed,
Yep.
right? Right?
Yep.
No.
That's why he's not revered in Dallas, because he keeps making bad decisions.
I think about my Buffalo Bills. When Ralph had the team, Ralph wanted to be too hands-on. Right? I mean, look as late as the whole Flutie Johnson. That was a Ralph Wilson decision. You had Doug Flutie that had basically brought them back on the verge of getting to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Gets him into the playoffs. Time for him to start. And he's like, oh, no. Right? Makes that call to Wade and says, I want Rob to start.
Vince, I've never. You got to help me. You got to catch me up. I've never felt that way about Ralph Wilson, because Bill Polian was always so prevalent. Or Terry Bledsoe. Oh, not Terry Bledsoe.
Donahoe?
What's the name of the guy before Bill Polian? He's passed now, but I never seen Ralph Wilson as a front guy.
Ralph was very much. He was not a microphone guy.
Okay.
And now I'm going to say this: he was not afraid of the microphone. That's for sure. But he wasn't a microphone guy the way Jerry is. But he was a meddling, hands in the pot type owner. And this you get from after the fact, right? People start talking about, well, Ralph did this and Ralph did that and Ralph called this, right? And again, talking about the whole Flutie Johnson. Right. And I would love if we were able to get some more direct contact on that one, but about the whole thing, how that transpired, right? That was a Ralph Wilson call. And then there's some other scenarios that have taken place where it was Ralph getting involved where, I would prefer you not, right? I would prefer that you are basically the money man. to Stevie D's point, I don't see you on Sunday, and only the administrative staff, the coaches, the GM, the VP of operations sees you on Monday, and you can sit at the head of the table and say, okay, what happened here? Talk to me about what happened here, and let them come to you, and then that's it. And then by the time next Sunday comes, the only time they see you is up in the box, right? And that's it. That's what I would want out of my owner. I don't want my owner looking for the microphone. I don't want the media looking for my owner to put a microphone in his face, because you don't know what's going to come out. Terry Pegula did the same thing, which really annoyed me when he was talking about Keon Coleman.
Yeah, yeah. That wasn't a good look.
No,
That wasn't a good look.
the owners, they get in their way, and who doesn't, right? Bisciotti, do we hear from Bisciotti?
Just at the end of the year press conference.
That's it. That's it. You don't hear from him. Kroenke, we don't hear from him. We hear what they think he's saying, but we don't hear from him. The Hunt, it was a Clark Hunt now, I think. Do you hear from Clark? Nope. So what's the common theme that you have there? You know, now you may say, well, what about Kraft? Well, we did. I mean, they're an anomaly. That I swear, that 20-year run is kind of like a ultra perverse type of universe that it shouldn't have happened.
Marked by scandals.
Yes, all the stuff that happens that should be the downfall seem to help kind of prop them up. You're not supposed to have your owner get caught coming out of a massage parlor. That should not happen. You should not get caught cheating and filming. That should not happen, right? A slap on the wrist. There's just so much that happened there, and they were immune to all of it, right? Maybe it was kind of like the NCAA as we go back to the NCAA. So, all right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up a little bit. Great conversation. And DB, welcome to your first fantasy football draft. So I want you to just take a load of these names. This is going to be the roster that you're going to ride through 17 weeks and become a fantasy football legend, right? You'll be able to add that to the resume as well. Stevie D and I will stay from the site. Hey, you are the GM. You are part of this organization, and so you'll be able to hold up this trophy. Starting at quarterback. Number 17, out of the University of Wyoming, Josh Allen. Josh brings incredible talent and skill. His diverse play.
Why didn't I figure that one out? We'll go ahead.
That was the first one. I was trying to click before Stevie D could pick. We also had a little slip up. So the card was being sent at the same time we were trying to pull it back, and we almost ran out of time on the clock, a la Minnesota. So we did select Trevor Lawrence, who also has the same bye week as Josh. So
Which went to the third quarterback on the roster.
big mistake there. But then Stevie D was able to redeem and came back with Jordan Love. So we have Jordan Love. So our quarterback room is not bad at all, right? You got Josh Allen, you got Trevor Lawrence, and you have Jordan Love. Now, here's where it gets a little interesting. I don't think I had anything to do with the running back room. So if we look at the running back room, we have off-injured Saquon Barkley, who's also questionable.
Risk reward, right?
We have Tony Pollard, known backup for the Dallas Cowboys, now getting his start in Tennessee, the cesspool that is Tennessee. Tony Pollard. And then we have Alvin Kamara, who I heard he was ready to retire. And somehow we've tried to resurrect his career by telling him.
He's not going to get on the field. He's like, if somebody gets injured and we have to get a spot start, maybe. Who knows? We may hit the waiver wire at that point.
Now, one of the strongest rooms in this entire league is the wide receiver room. And again, we know who drafted these gentlemen. Jaden Waddle. Now, some say he may be wide receiver 1, could be wide receiver 2 with Sutton, but I like him out there in Denver. We have one DJ Moore coming to Buffalo by way of Chicago. Everything bright lights, big city there in Buffalo, going to have a big year. Then we went shopping for some diamonds and pearls with the selection of Mr. Garrett Wilson. And then we had to take DK Metcalf. If you're a fan of the show, you know how I wanted DJ Metcalf out of Ole Miss, and I was highly upset when we didn't get him. And then I wanted to trade for him, and we still didn't get him. And now we have him on our fantasy team. So somehow, Stevie D, he was coming this way. So we have DK Metcalf. Then we have Juwan Jennings. Interesting
Touchdown
pick.
Touchdown guy.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick, except for you have Addison and Jefferson, but he'll slide right in there. Kyler Murray.
Those are those where you have to put in for a bye, right? So hopefully your reserves only play 1 week, and so you hope you can survive with that in 1 week. You wouldn't go to battle with that pick every week, as your starting wide receiver, that's for sure.
At tight end, we have Hunter Henry. Very disappointed with that pick. I'm going to be very outspoken about that. I don't think I have ever in my fantasy football career had a New England Patriot on my team.
How many championships have you won in fantasy football? Okay. Just
zero.
want to throw that out there.
So I am co-owning a team, owning a team. And Derek, between the two of us, we have 66%. So that's the majority. So just think about that. We may be able to throw him out. This would be like the Lakers. But we have Hunter Henry. And then let's see, who am I missing? We have Colby Parkinson with the Rams. Really? Just a name?
If you were paying attention to the draft when you got to see the backup tight ends and what was left available, you don't really want to know what was left on the board at that point.
You mean to tell me a Dawson Knox wasn't sitting on the board?
Oh, Dawson Knox? No, he went undrafted. But you
Yeah,
think I'm picking another Buffalo Bill? I don't think so.
I tried. Now, here are some interesting picks. We did go for the kicker of 70 yards, Mr. Cam Little. So we have 2 Jacksonville Jaguars on the roster. But, you get the bonus points for the kicks of distance. So that's what we're hoping to really kind of compound that. And last but not least, we have the Atlanta Falcons defense.
Let me tell you something. I was torn on that one. It was like the Browns, the Falcons. It was getting
Who defense?
Oh, boy.
the Falcons.
One of the owners has spoken, Stevie D. You see that look?
Well, if you guys look at the draft board and what was available as far as defenses, it wasn't pretty.
So
I was going
here's
to go with the Jets, but they just don't get interceptions, so I just couldn't pick the Jets defense.
So here's a good thing, right? You're going against the Saints twice, the Buccaneers twice, and the Carolina Panthers twice.
So are the Jets a man-to-man team or a zone team, Steve?
They're a mixture, but if I had to say, they'll play more zone than they would man-to-man.
Well, you're gonna get more interceptions when you play zone than you play man-to-man now. So
Yeah,
I
but we
can
can't
understand
catch the
that.
ball.
I understand that if
We can't
they're
catch the ball. We can't catch it. We can't do tip drills.
Derek.
We're out of position. It's not.
Derek, I'm not sure if you saw the highlights of the Jets last year.
no,
The ball would be right here. And they went the entire season with the. I mean, I hear you, but I feel for my man. I mean, they went the entire year and right there.
I mean,
Just squeeze it.
when you think about how teams luck into interceptions, each team probably lucks into at least 3 interceptions every year on a tip drill. It just lands in the guy's lap. last year, every tip drill seemed like it was just out of reach to catch. It was, the stars were not aligned. I've never seen anything like it in football.
Okay, I get you.
Thanks for bringing back that pain, Derek. Thank you.
I didn't mean to. I just, when you said they didn't get interceptions, I said, well, maybe they're a man-to-man team.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get less interceptions if you're a man-to-man team versus a zone.
And they wore gloves too, by the way.
Well, think about it. We traded Sauce Gardner, so our chances of getting an interception is good because he's allergic to the football. He can't intercept it.
Oh, he's gone. Now you're throwing shade. If I would have said
No,
that,
that
too,
was-
you would have been
we
ready.
all talked about how we can't now. As far as a cover corner goes, his mentality is I'd rather rip it out of your hands or deflect it, but he doesn't put himself in position to intercept it.
Intercept the
Those
ball.
were his words. So, no.
All right, guys. So, couple housekeeping things that we have to do. Again, we tell everybody go ahead and check out the website, OWSportsNetwork.com. Fresh and new content. Plus, you can watch some of the older podcasts, whether it be the last few that we've had with Paul or from Dan. Some really good guests. Some good clips that are coming out of there. Also, some blog articles for both the Jets, for the Bills, and even NFL. So if you're looking for NFL content, definitely go to OWSportsNetwork.com. Next week, Stevie D, we're going to have a guest next week.
Yes.
We,
Tom Barton
we
from
did
Tom Barton
jam-packed for like the last 4 weeks. Go ahead, Stevie D.
Yeah. Tom Barton from Tom Barton Sports. If you are a bettor, you like to bet, you like to do props each week. Tom's going to come on for a small segment and kind of talk about sports betting. And as we throw out teams and scenarios, he'll answer it for everybody. If you want to sign up with TomBartonSports.com on their monthly subscription, his monthly subscription, if you mention OW Sports Network, he's going to give you a free week in that membership. So check out TomBartonSports.com. He's considered the #1 Vegas handicapper. He does a radio show on Fox Sports Vegas. He's on the radio, he's on the TV, so he's out doing a lot around sports betting and the NFL. So,
Here's a really cool thing, funny story. So I was talking about the podcast, yada yada, and said, we're going to have Tom Barton on, and he's going to be kind of a weekly host for about 15 minutes. And I said I learned a lot in just a short time that we talked because I didn't understand certain things. And I said, what's his name? He said, Tom Barton. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm familiar with him. I was like, oh, no kidding. And he goes, I guess in his crew, one of his guys is a subscriber to Tom Barton. I was like, nice. I said, and you too. If you go to OWSportsNetwork.com, you're going to see a link there to go to Tom Barton Sports. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I was like, interesting. I got to tell you, Stevie D, Derek, I am so far away from the true gambling aspect. When I was talking to Tom, I know the spread, right? I get that. I get over under. I get that, and I get the parlays, right? And I get how to tease up and tease down, but I never win. So I never really tried to get too deep into that, right? And just to understanding the money line, and moreover, understanding how Vegas never loses anymore. Right. We always said that Vegas took a beating because a certain team lost, and to find out that on the backside, Caesars is going to MGM and going to Harrah's and going all over the place to cover themselves so that they don't lose. They never lose. Yeah. I was like, wow, you got to be kidding me. So that learning a lot about that, and it's interesting. I still don't like it in sports, though. I'm just going to tell you, I don't like it. I think the leagues are too close, but Tom will definitely kind of show us the way and give us some good insight there. Guys, as we get ready to wrap this up, let's go around the horn with some final words. So, Stevie D, what do you got for us?
Okay, this is an interesting one, and I don't know if it's going to be also like a public service announcement too, but I'll start with. We talk about putting athletes on a pedestal and they have to do the right things in life, right? And if they do something wrong, everybody comes down on the player hard, right? A lot of times they come down on a player before an investigation is even finished, right? And we condemn an athlete before we know the true story, right? And oftentimes, maybe 50-50, the athlete is cleared, but is he really cleared because the story broke without, evidence? Then we have an owner for the San Francisco 49ers that is supposed to really be high on the moral. You're an owner of an NFL football team. You're supposed to be a pillar in the community, pillar for and set a standard for your players on your team and for other teams because you're an owner. But yet we have an owner that decided to go solicit a prostitute in a trailer park scenario for $160. He was dressed not like an owner would be, and he decided to go to a site that was a sting, sign up for a prostitute, go to a trailer park to meet a prostitute for $160. When I have a problem with the NFL, Robert Kraft went through his thing with the old massage parlor, right? Now we have another owner doing that. And I want to see Roger Goodell lay the hammer down, because when you're talking about owners in professional sports, you should be always held at the highest standards. And I don't want to see Jed York get a pass because he's the boss of Roger Goodell. And I want to see the hammer come down because we like I said about the players, we have to be better as a league and come down on this owner. I don't know what he's thinking. You're a family man with your wedding ring on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now, I can make the argument of a trailer park for a prostitute. Like, you're Jed York. You're worth how much? I mean, you can get a professional. I'm sure you can get a professional that you're probably not going to come down with some disease. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that out there too, right? I'd be remiss if I didn't take a shot at him because I don't understand it of where you're going for your lady companionship. But honestly, it's an embarrassment for the league. It's an embarrassment for the 49ers. It's an embarrassment to his wife and his family, right? Because now you have to go around and go back and talk to your wife and your kids about what you did. Come on, bud, have some morals. So, I don't want to drag the topic off longer, but that's how I wanted to end with and saying be better. Be better. The league needs to be better, and I hope Roger Goodell lays the gavel down hard with him.
All right. EB, you have any final words for us?
You know what? I just kind of want to go back to Deshaun Watson. We had that discussion, and I just want to know what happened to winning, the importance of winning the game, because we do this to win the game. And I know that sounds like a cliche. It sounds like we've said it before, but as an athlete, your coaches always said we're going to always put the best guy out there, the best guy that gives us an opportunity to win a game. But Cleveland is not doing that. So, and if they're not doing it, I want to know why. What happened to wanting to win? What happened to putting winning first before saving face? Because everybody in the country knows that's probably the worst contract in the NFL history, and it always will be. But I want to know what happened to putting the best guy on the field to do the job. What happened to that? So, hopefully hopefully this is an isolated case, and all of us doesn't feel that we have to save face before putting first thing first is winning the game.
Well said. And thank you for taking my last word topic. No, actually, so it's funny. I was going to go the route of Deshaun, and the last minute I decided to pivot. I know we talked about the Dallas Cowboys a little bit this evening, and it's not about Jerry and Jimmy, but it's about a player on their roster now I was sent a clip of a young man that was basically breaking them down. And just to see the raw emotion of those players, the admiration of those players, and I'm talking about Shiaz Pete. He is the first Navajo Nation member of the Navajo Nation to sign with the NFL team. Why this is important, at least from my perspective, why this is important is because this is a country that has been built upon breaking down barriers and supposed to be a melting pot. And we know the history of this country, and we've seen some of the steps that we've taken to make sure that you have different barriers that have been taken down. For far too long, there are members of different communities who have been overlooked or discounted for whatever reason. We know that the greatest football player ever, was a Native American. We know this. By the way, Stevie D, did you ever watch that Netflix series yet?
Not yet.
On Jim Thorpe? Yeah, you got to catch that on Jim Thorpe. We know this, but for some reason, it took until 2026 for a member of the Navajo Nation to sign with the NFL team. He was a member of the New Mexico State and Kentucky Wildcats football team. And then he got a shot with the Dallas Cowboys. And going to the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, first of all, we're talking about a big boy. 6'9", 309. That is a large individual, right? And I really do hope that he is very successful. But his story is bigger than anything, especially within his community. Because at their preseason game, they had almost the entire section, right? The entire section, and they all there at that section were cheering him on and giving him all of his flowers that he so rightly deserved. At which point, then the coaching staff for the Dallas Cowboys and other players there for the Cowboys in the locker room paid him tribute. And then again, as I said, he broke them down. I'm not one to get into the sappy stories. I'm not. But I am one that likes to see progress and likes to see change. And hopefully he is part of that pioneer to make that change. And we continue to see, the NFL become the huge melting pot of the deserving, those that deserve to be there, right? Don't just include somebody to include them. Be 6'9", 309 and can move mountains. You deserve to be there, right? And so I wish him nothing but the best. And hopefully things don't work out in Dallas and you can come to Buffalo, because I would love to have somebody 6'9", 309. So those are my closing words there, guys. This was an interesting one, fellas, because, trying to do two things at once and, crossing that imaginary line. I can't walk and chew at the same time. I forget what I had for breakfast. So, Stevie D, I needed you to help me, and I needed to help you, and Derek, you needed help. And we got through it, boys. We got through it. We got the draft done. We're going to be number one. I'm telling you now, count it, mark it, cut the tape. We got control of this, Stevie D.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Yep. Commissioner rules. Sorry, those 40 points by those three players in that game. Oh, just happening against OWSports Network. You had to forfeit those points. I hear you.
There could be some roster changes too.
Some roster changes.
Jameer Gibbs, welcome to OW Sports.
We'll trade you Tony Pollard.
But no, I had a good time, guys, and I like the debate, and I like the conversation, I like the dialogue. So this is good, Derek. You bring a fresh and different voice that Stevie D and I could not bring, so I appreciate you being here and being part of this crew. Stevie D, you're my boy. Yeah, you're my boy, Blue. You're my boy. All right. So for Derek, DB29, for Stevie D, I'm Vince. We'll talk to you soon.